One of the most underrated reasons why a lot of players in Fortnite are losing fights, whether it be in builds or zero builds, is because they do not know how to engage a fight and when to disengage from a fight. I know this reason may sound very simple and very basic, and that is why I said it is so underrated, but what I realize is that a lot of players simply do not know this strategy of when to enter a fight and when to disengage from a fight, and that is the reason why they're getting their ass kicked and losing the game. Let's just imagine for a second that you're taking a fight and you got the best loadout, you got the power position, you got high ground, everything is stacked in your favor in order for you to win. But when you push the fight, you end up losing. Or in a situation where you're in a fight, you got the best loadout, you got shockwaves or a void mask or even a typhoon blade, and you got badly hurt. But instead of retreating and trying to get off a reset, you end up dying like a dummy. How did that make you feel? I know a lot of you guys dying this way, and I dying this way as well. It's one of my biggest weakness. Don't judge me. But this can be due to two main reasons. Number one is that you're playing against another player who's way better than you. Or number two, you simply don't know the strategy of engagement and disengagement. When taking or engaging a fight, there's multiple factors to consider, and I'll name a few and briefly explain, but I will do a more in-depth analysis in another video. Number one, your loadout. A lot of players aim to have the most optimal loadout in the game, but still end up losing a lot of fights, and that is because they do not utilize their loadout to the best of their ability. You have to ensure that you are familiar with all the items in your loadout and know how to use them. That will help to elevate your game and also help you to win fights. Number two, gather intel. It doesn't matter if you're playing solos, duos or squads, but getting some amount of intel on the enemy is very vital, and it can determine if you win the fight or if you lose the fight. This information can be how many enemies present, where the enemy is located, if the enemy is behind cover, because you don't want to be running out in the open and getting beamed, or you push a fight and you end up on the low ground and the enemy just simply beams you from above. Number three, don't underestimate your enemy. It's best to be safe than sorry in Fortnite. So it doesn't matter if the enemy even look like a bot, you will go at that player as if that player owes you money. Because a lot of times I pretend to be a bot and kill a lot of players just because they underestimate me. So once you see a player, ensure that you're bringing your best and you're bringing your A game at all times. Number four, pick your fights and know when to be aggressive. It's better to take a 1v1 over a 1v2 or even fighting a full squad by yourself. So you want to ensure that you're picking your fights in game and know when to be aggressive so that you don't end up at a disadvantage and end up dying prematurely. Knowing when to disengage from a fight is a professional skill that you should master, and it requires good judgment, and there's a few factors that will help you to develop this skill. First, guard your health. You want to ensure that as you take fights, you're playing as if you have 1 HP at all times, and you're taking the least amount of damage you possibly can by utilizing cover and ensuring you get those right hand peaks. But the moment you get badly hurt, you either commit to the fight if you're confident that you can win, or disengage in order to get a reset. But disengagement depends on if you have good movement. Good mobility is one of the most important factors when it comes down to disengagement, because it's very hard to disengage from a fight if you don't got good mobility. So ensuring that when you're starting your loadout, you have a good mobility stacked in your loadout so you can utilize it when necessary. You can play offensively or defensively when you got good mobility. And despite what you hear, one of the best mobility item in the game is a car. A car is very good for cover and is very good for movement. So I would utilize playing with a car as much as possible in game. Learn how to do those car plays. Second, always expect third party. The moment you're fighting another player, always expect that there'll be a third party right on your heels. So ensure that you're playing behind cover or heading directly to cover as soon as you finish a fight, instead of looting and doing all that stuff. Just ensure that you prioritize getting to cover or getting away from the scene before a third party shows up. Third, balancing your offensive and defensive plays. Knowing when to push and when to defend is very vital when it comes down to winning a fight. When you got players at a disadvantage, when you do a lot of damage and you're confident in your aim, confident in your loadout, then you can definitely push a fight. But on the flip side, when you take a lot of damage and you're at a disadvantage, you also need to know when to play defensively by utilizing your loadout to the maximum, by using those mobility items to disengage, by using your porta bunkers, your bushes for cover, because a lot of players lose fights simply because they overexert themselves by over peeking from behind cover even though they took a lot of damage. So you have to know how to utilize your cover and not give away your position, and by simply understanding that sometimes your defense is your best offense. Fourth, having good judgment. You simply cannot play the game on autopilot because everybody's trying to win, everybody's trying to get that dub. So you have to ensure that you're locked in and always thinking critically about each situation and how to approach them. Having good judgment helps to determine how you play the game. It helps to decide your play style, if you're an offensive player or a defensive player or somewhere in between. So whenever you're taking a fight, it helps you to decide how to push, when to retreat, when to reset. If you watch some of these pro streamers such as Prospering, who solo squads on a daily, you'll realize that one of the tactics that he utilizes is knowing when to disengage from a fight. Knowing when to disengage doesn't necessarily mean running away. It doesn't even have to be when you take damage. You just need to have good judgment to know when a situation is dicey, when a situation is not in your favor, and know when to retreat, when to pull back, when to reset, and then re-engage into the fight. I promise you that by learning this underrated strategy of knowing when and how to engage a fight and also when to disengage from a fight, it will elevate your game and you will see new heights. You'll start winning more fights and also getting more dubs in zero build and build in Fortnite. I hope you find some value in this video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe for more content like this. You know, it's your boy Xtinguish, and I'll see you on the next video.